Hello everyone, and welcome back to mountmoontcg. Well, it's that time again. A new set is about to be released for the Pokemon trading card game, so now I'm going to talk about what I think are the top 10 cards from Obsidian Flames. Yeah. But I have to be honest with you. There is something you guys should take note before I start my list. A good portion of these cards, if they were in other sets, let's say Scarlet and Violet or Astral Radiance, probably wouldn't even make honorable mention on those lists. This set is interesting to say the least. That's because our set here in the United States is essentially one set and a couple of starter decks in Japan. Where normally we kind of get two sets from Japan into one set for us, here they did something different. So we only got one Japanese set and a bunch of like starter deck EXs. So this kind of slim pickings. But there are still some great cards on this list. So please stick around to the end to see what the number one card is from Obsidian Flames. With that out of the way, here are the top 10 cards from Obsidian Flames. And at number 10, we have Lunatone. Now, Lunatone has an ability where if you have a Solrock in play, you get to ignore all effects of stadium cards in play done to your Pokemon. So if you potentially have, Pokemon V or Pokemon EX, rule box Pokemon, and your opponent has, let's say, a Path to the Peak in play, Lunatone basically says that, I have Solrock. That Path to the Peak does not affect my, let's say, Arceus V-Star. So you can go ahead and use Arceus V-Star's V-Star power to look for 2 cards. So it might be pretty interesting to see what kind of decks play Solrock and Lunatone. The one big con with Lunatone is, well, you got to use up 2 spots for this, fun little combo to work. But, since it's interesting and kind of cool, and like I said a little bit earlier, as it might be lacking in some cards, I thought it'd be kind of neat to put in Solrock and Lunatone, not Solrock, sorry, Lunatone here at number 10. And of course, it's kind of neat to see, where Lunatone goes, a Solrock goes, those 2 Pokemon just go kind of well together. Coming in at number 9, we have Pokemon League Headquarters. This is a stadium card that states that all basic Pokemon in play, their attacks cost 1 colorless more. So this stadium could be annoying against decks like Lost Box, where you want to not put so many energy on the board unless you're actually attacking with it. So now that Sableye attack costs 2 energy. It's not going to affect Cramorant, I don't think, because Cramorant says it kind of avoids all energy, or all energy cost for the attack, so it shouldn't matter there. But it could matter with things like Raikou V, or your Dragonite V, etc., etc. A bad side about this card is there's decks out there like Chin-Pao Baxcalibur, where Chin-Pao just kind of looks at that stadium and goes, okay, cool, I'll just attach an extra energy myself, I'm still doing the damage, I gotta discard the energy, but I kind of don't care about your stadium, buddy. So it's going to be kind of interesting what decks might be stalled a little bit from Pokemon League HQ, but currently as of right now, I don't think too many decks are going to be really affected, since we're kind of moving on to a very heavy Stage 1, Stage 2 format. So I think at number 9 it's kind of appropriate. We'll wait and see. Coming in at number 8, we have a supporter card called Gita. Now, Gita is kind of an interesting supporter card, which when you play it, you search your deck for 2 basic energy cards and attach them to one of your Pokemon. But the drawback is, you cannot attack this turn. So now you might be wondering, Hunter, why is this card in at number 8? This sounds terrible. Let me defend this Because I think Gita could actually be really good, especially in Ting-Lu decks. Now, I've played Ting-Lu a little bit, and I found it very consistent that you can get one Ting-Lu up and running turn 1. But getting another Ting-Lu up and running is pretty hard to do. And I think Gita can really help with a Ting-Lu deck. So, imagine for a second, because I do like this card, and I like Ting-Lu, and trust me, this is going somewhere. So, you're going second, because obviously you can't play a supporter going first. You go second, you get your 2 Ting-Lus, you get a Koraidon, you get your Hawlucha, you get your Squawkabilly. Okay, cool. And you also get your 2 Fighting Energy in the discard pile. You play your Gita, you search for 2 Fighting Energy cards, attach them to Ting-Lu, you attach per turn to the Ting-Lu, and then you also got your Koraidon's ability to put 2 Fighting Energy from the discard pile onto the Ting-Lu on the bench. So essentially, you can attach up to 5 energy onto your Pokemon in 1 turn. It sounds a little bit broken, but I know a lot of other people are not very psyched for Gita, so I'm going to play it safe and put it a little lower on this list. But hey, I think this can be a very good supporter card going forward, and that's why I think Gita is here at number 8. Next in at number 7, we have Toedscruel EX. Now, Toedscruel EX has the ability that states, prevent all effects of attacks done to your Pokemon with grass energy on them. So if your opponent wants to use a Sableye, but all of your Pokemon have, grass energy on them, you kind of avoid the effect of that attack. Because ergo Toedscruel EX's ability that gets rid of effects of attacks. This can also get rid of pesky things like paralysis, or anything else kind of like that done to your Pokemon. Toedscruel EX also has the attack for 2 grass energy, does 80 plus 40 for each Pokemon on your bench with grass energy attached to them. So what's a good way we can get the grass energy on our Toedscruel and Pokemon on the bench? Well, there's Gita I mentioned earlier. There's also cards like, Leafeon V, which is pretty good because, like I mentioned with Koraidon EX and Zacian V, you kind of play the Gita, turn 1 going second, put some energy on, use the Leafeon V to put more grass energy in play. There's also Gardenia's Vigor, which can put energy into play. There's a couple of things that you can do to get, a bunch of grass energy in play onto Toedscruel and the bench Pokemon. There's also cards like Fortress EX, if you really want to. So, there's ways that you can get, a lot of grass energy onto your Pokemon pretty quick here. So, I think Toedscruel is a very interesting Pokemon going forward. And, a lot of cards on this list have a lot of potential, and Toedscruel, I think, does have a lot of potential. So that's why Toedscruel is here at number 7. Coming in at number 6, we have Town Store. Now, Town Store is a stadium card that simply says, search your deck for a tool card, put it into your hand. Very simple, straightforward, and to the point. So yeah, this can be really good for getting cards like Forest Sealstone, so you can use it, patch to your Pokemon V, search for any card from your deck, so on and so forth. It's good for getting cards like, Choice Band or Bravery Charm, whatever you need in that certain scenario. Because, it's kind of a little bit hard to find tool cards right now. Since, since they changed the ruling on tool cards saying that they're no longer items, so you can't look forward with you can't look for for tool cards like, Irida used to, because Irida looks for an item card and tools are no longer items. You know what I'm saying. But, if you can't figure out what kind of stadium to put into your deck, Town Store, give it a shot. If it helps you find a powerful card like Forest Sealstone, hey, go for it. And that's why Town Store is here at number 6. Next in at number 5, we have Gamora EX. If I'm pronouncing that correctly. Gamora EX, everybody. So Gamora EX has the ability where if it's in the active spot, your opponent can only have 3 bench Pokemon. So this might remind some older players of Parallel City, which was a stadium card in which you had to, turn it the right way to make sure that the side where your opponent can only have 3 bench was facing them. So not facing you, because that'd be bad. But yeah, your opponent can only have 3 benched Pokemon in play. And then, it has to state if there's more than one effect that states, if they can only have so many bench Pokemon, choose the lower number. I digress. So this could be a very annoying card, because bench space is very important in the Pokemon trading card game. But sometimes it does happen where you play your Gamora EX, and your opponent's just like, oh, I don't need Lumineon V on my bench anymore. I don't need Hawlucha on my bench anymore. I'll just get rid of those and then boss something else up to the active. So now that ability's gone in Gamora, so now I can bench a couple more Pokemon. Oh, good. But seriously, getting rid of 2 bench spots on your opponent's side of the field is kind of annoying. I mean, we've seen this before, like I said, with Parallel City. We've seen this on Sudowoodo. And currently, we've seen this on Collapse Stadium. So you can understand how annoying that is. Also, Gamora has an attack for 2 fighting energy. It does 140 damage, and it poisons the active Pokemon. The opponent's active Pokemon, not your own. So again, you can, if you wanted to, you could pair this with Gita, you could pair this with Koraidon, you can pair this with, there's plenty of ways to get a bunch of energy into play. So I don't know how viable Gamora is going to be going forward, but the main fact that it can lower your opponent's bench, hit for about 140 and poison, doesn't sound like a horrible combination to me. So for that, Gamora is here at number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have Scizor, ladies and gentlemen. Scizor has the attack for 1 metal energy, where it does 10 damage plus 50 more for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play that have an ability. Now this sounds very similar to Appleton, and that's very true, it does, but Scizor has some more HP, which I think might help it in the long run. Because I believe Appleton has 90 HP and Scizor has 140, so that 50 damage kind of works. So I'm going to go back to Lost Box again, since it's a popular deck that people are playing. So cards like Cramorant, cards like Sableye cannot knock out Scizor in 1 hit. And then you got cards like, Chin-Pao that need to discard, a couple more energy to actually knock out Scizor. You need to attach more onto your Gardevoirs to knock out Scizor. I think the HP does help it a little bit. But let's just think about this. Is the attack good? Again, you're playing against the Lost Box deck. They have maybe 3 Comphase in play. Maybe they have a Cramorant. Maybe they have a Raikou. They usually play things that have a lot of abilities. So let's just say your opponent has a full, 6 cards in play with abilities. Yeah, you're hitting for 310 damage. That's enough to knock out, I don't know, I'm trying to think of what's big thing you can hit. I would say Mew VMAX, but Mew VMAX doesn't have an ability on it. Let's just say 310, you cannot, figuratively speaking, knock out a Mew VMAX. Figuratively speaking. But let's actually go to a different deck. Let's just say Gardevoir EX. Gardevoir EX likes to play their, abilities. Because, you got your Kirlias, you got both your Gardevoirs, you got your Mew, you got your Zacian V, you got Manaphy. All kinds of, Pokemon with abilities. I think the only Pokemon in that deck that doesn't have an ability is Ralts. So, yeah, you can hit for some big numbers with Scizor against a deck like that. Not to mention, an important thing on Scizor is it can hit for metal weakness Pokemon like Chin-Pao EX. And Chin-Pao EX, also likes to play its abilities, with Greninja, Chin-Pao itself, Baxcalibur, Manaphy, Arceus V-Star. Yeah, there's a lot of decks out there right now that play very heavy ability Pokemon. So I think there's a little bit more potential with Scizor than with the Appleton. But a drawback is, if Scizor is so good, then how come, Appleton's not seeing a lot of play right now, besides like in Zoroark box decks. And I don't know, it's just weird. I'm not seeing too many people hype up Scizor, but because they're saying the Appleton logic, like I said. But I do have confidence that Scizor is just missing that perfect partner to pair with to help make it a top tier deck. Call it a little bit of bias on my part to put Scizor very high up this list, but you know what? It's my list. I don't care. Scizor's here at number 4. Coming in at number 3, we have Tyranitar EX. Tyranitar EX is an electric Pokemon. Your eyes are not deceiving you, but it does have fighting attack costs. The first attack for 1 fighting energy does 120, but you gotta discard the top 2 cards of your deck. The second attack for 2 fighting energy does 150, but it can do 100 more damage if any of your benched Pokemon are damaged. So essentially, you're doing 250 with a benched damaged Pokemon. So why is Tyranitar here at number 3? Well, I think you could pair it up with cards like Cheryl for, when you do your huge 250, damage, second attack, and then you get damage next turn, say you take like 250 damage, you can heal with a card like Cheryl. Sure, you discard all the energy attached to Tyranitar, but you heal it, and then you can attach, 1 energy in the next turn, do 120 damage, and, knock out that pesky EX Pokemon, and, go from there. It's a big, beefy boy that can do some big, beefy attacks. It's kind of hard to figure out, though, what you're going to really pair with Tyranitar, since it's a little awkward being, a fighting Pokemon with, an electric, it's an electric Pokemon with fighting energy attack costs. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see what people pair this with. So, I think the reason why that's number 3 is just a big, beefy boy. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of the cards on this list are, very up in the air. We don't really know what's going to be happening with a lot of these cards. Yeah, I think Tyranitar is just here at number 3 because it's, big beefy Pokemon, can do some big damage. You can heal it with cards like Cheryl to do more damage next turn. I'm not gonna lie, that's all I got for Tyranitar. It's kind of upsetting, actually. Oh well. Well, Tyranitar's here at number 3 anyhow. Next up, number 2. Okay. The rest of the cards on this list, 10 through 3, you can put in any order you want. I kind of don't care. These next 2 cards, I think, are arguably the best 2 cards in the set. It's just, which one do I want to put at number 1? I know which one I want to put at number 1, but is that because of my hate for this certain Pokemon? Or is it because I don't think it's as good as the one I want to put at number 1? What do you think, buddy? You know what you must do. But I don't think I can. I really think the one I want to put at number 1 is maybe number 2. Do it. You know what? How about this? I'm going to flip a coin. I'm going to flip a coin. All right. Heads, tails. Heads is the card that I want to put at number 1, and tails is the card I don't want to put at number 1. Stupid coin. Well, on that note now, in at number 2, we have Pidgeot EX. Like I said, this is the card I wanted to put at number 1, but fate intervened. Anyhow, this might remind some old school players of a Pidgeot from way back ago. It's a stage 2, but its ability states that you can search a deck for any card and put it into your hand. You can't use more than one. I can't remember what the ability is called, but you can't use more than one of this ability per turn. This is very powerful ability. The fact that you can just go into your deck and find any card to get out of a certain situation is very powerful. I mean, there's a reason why cards like, Drizzile and Teleon were so good. It was such a good engine to find, whatever card you needed for a certain situation and kind of bail you out of that scenario. I mean, granted, you can't search for 2 cards like you did with Inteleon, but Inteleon you had to evolve it to do that, to Shady Dealings. Pidgeot you can do once every turn. This is massive. Pair that with cards like, Arceus V-Star, and you could potentially find 3 cards that you really need on one turn. This could be very powerful in the Pokemon trading card game. I mean, this could be the new Inteleon engine going forward in the Pokemon trading card game. So I think you can understand why I want to put this card in at number 1. Because, it has unlimited potential, and you can literally put it in any single deck. Well, maybe not Lost Box. I've been mentioning Lost Box a lot in this list. I don't know why. Anyhow, the attack we're not going to worry too much about. For 2 energy, and I think it does 120, and then you just go to Stadium and play. I don't think we're really concerned about that. But no, the fact that you can just search your deck for any card, you need that boss's orders for game? Cool! Pidgeot to the rescue. You really need to find that 1 energy to knock out the final Pokemon? Pidgeot to the rescue. You need to find, blah, 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 blah. Pidgeot to the rescue. So, yeah, Pidgeot's here at number 2. And in at number 1... Forgive me. Charizard EX. Look, I'm sorry. Charizard EX probably is the best card in this set. I mean, it's practically the mascot for this set. I mean... For those of you that are new to this channel, you kind of know that Chris and I are not too fond of Charizard. We like our boy Blastoise. Represent. So yeah, the fact that there's probably going to be a decent Charizard card kind of makes our blood boil a little bit. But anyhow, let's talk about what Charizard EX does. So Charizard EX is a Dark type, which makes it a little bit better since I do like my Dark type Pokemon. It's got the ability where if you evolve this Pokemon from your hand during this turn, I think it's when you evolve it actually, not during this turn. When you evolve this Pokemon from your hand onto a Pokemon, you search your deck for 3 Fire Energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon anywhere you like. Then shuffle your deck. Yeah, we got some really good energy acceleration here with Charizard EX. And the attack for 2 Fire Energy, 180 plus 30 for each prize card your opponent has taken. I mean, yeah, getting to about the middle to end of the game, Charizard can hit for a big amount of damage. If you think about it, say your opponent takes, 4 prize cards. 4 prize cards times 30, that is 120, plus the 180 that you're doing is 300 damage. Yeah, Charizard EX can hit for a lot of damage. Kind of neat. It's also kind of a big beefy boy too, with, what is it again? With 330 HP. Sorry, I had to look at my note there. But yeah, 330 HP for a stage 2. It can hit for a lot of damage. yeah, if you get a couple of these powered up, evolve a couple of these pretty quick, yeah, you can get 2 Charizard powered up pretty quickly, not to mention any other fire attacker you really want to get going. This does have potential to be the best deck coming from Obsidian Flames. Kind of disappointed myself that we put it here at number 1, but fate kind of decided for me. Probably shouldn't have flipped a Ho-Oh coin. That was my mistake. That's my bad, everyone. I flipped a fire type coin. Yeah, that was my bad. But yeah, the fact that it's 330 HP, can do a lot of damage, has a pretty good ability. Maybe Charizard does deserve to be here at number 1, despite my, I don't know what the term is, but hatred of Charizard. Is that the right term? I don't know. So that will do it, guys. These are my top 10 cards from Obsidian Flames. So what do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Let me know down in the comment section down below. And give me your list as well. I would love to see them. Anyhow, guys, that will do it for this video. Make sure you hit that like button. Comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time here on mountmoontcg. Look, fate decided, okay? I didn't decide, fate decided. So if you're gonna get mad at anything, get mad at that coin, okay? This is not my doing. I am coming for you, Charizard. Mark my words.